Russian soldiers accused of being among Butchers of Bucha who massacred civilians pictured by Ukraine for first time. Ukrainian military officials have pictured and named 10 Russian soldiers it accuses of being among the so-called Butchers of Bucha who massacred civilians in the town. The group, described as war criminals by Kyiv, are believed to be from the 64th Motor Rifle Brigade, which was stationed in the town while the alleged atrocities were being carried out. Corporal Andrei Beziev, 33, is reportedly one of the Butchers of Bucha. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Married dad Sergeant Nikita Akimov, 25, is said to have personally tortured civilians. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Corporal Semyon Maltsov, 26, left his job as a dancer in February to fight in Ukraine. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Dubbed the Despicable 10, the men's faces and names were released by Ukraine's Ministry of Defense. It said in a statement, 10 Russian butchers from the 64th Brigade have been identified and named as suspects responsible for committing the Bucha massacre. Among the 10 soldiers cited are Junior Sergeant Vyacheslav Lavreniev, a firefighter before the war, martial artist Private Grigory Narishkin, and professional dancer Corporal Seaman Maltsev. A number of the group have reportedly continued to post on Facebook since the outbreak of war, including Private Vasily Knyazov, 24, who is said to have shared details of where the 64th Brigade was stationed in Ukraine. Private Sergey Peskariov, 24, quit his job at a supermarket in November in anticipation of war with Ukraine. He got his wish and is now accused of war crimes in Bucha. Married Corporal Mikhail Kashin is said to have marked his birthday in Bucha by massacring civilians. While Sergeant Nikita Akimov, who is said to have personally kidnapped and tortured Bucha civilians, has continued to post on Facebook, where pictures of his young children seem surreal following revelations about his alleged crimes. Just 10 days ago, Vladimir Putin chose to honor the group blamed for the Bucha massacre, presenting the 64th Brigade with awards for their heroism and bravery. While the commander of the Bucha Butchers, Lieutenant Colonel Zatbek Omerbekov, was last week promoted to the rank of colonel. It was revealed that Omerbekov received a blessing from the Russian Orthodox Church in November, just months before the troops he commanded are alleged to have massacred and tortured hundreds of Ukrainian civilians. This is despite the fact his men have been accused of a series of war crimes, including gang rapes, torture, and the executions of civilians. The men's alleged identities were found after a joint investigation by the Prosecutor General's office in Ukraine and the news agency Slitstvo. Speaking today, Ukraine's Prosecutor General Irina Benediktova said, "We will not stop until we bring each of them to justice." Private Grigory Narishkin, 30, from Far Eastern Russia. Private Vasily Knyazov, 24, grew up in poverty in Yoshkar-Ola, Western Russia. He joined the army straight from school. Corporal Seaman Maltsev, 26, and a professional dancer before the war, left his dance company to sign up to fight in Ukraine in February. Private Sergey Peskariov, 24, quit his job at a supermarket in November in anticipation of war with Ukraine. Private Albert Radnev, 24, joined the army straight from school. His father is also reportedly in the Russian army. Corporal Mikhail Kashin, 24, from Votinsk, West Russia, where he has a wife and several sisters. Corporal Andrei Beziev, 33, has reportedly served in the Russian army for over 10 years. Corporal Dmitry Sergeyenko, 27, from Voronezh, Southwest Russia. Nikita Akimov, 25, from Komsomolsk in the far east of Russia. Accused of personally kidnapping and torturing innocent civilians in Bucha. All of the men named and pictured on Thursday are young, aged between 24 and 33, and range in ranks from privates to sergeants to corporals. Following the withdrawal from Bucha, they were moved to Belarus and then onto the western Russian border city of Belgorod. The Butchers of Bucha are feared to have been redeployed to Ukraine, and are said to be fighting in the eastern Donbas region, where most of the Russian army is now concentrated. Military analysts have claimed that Putin deliberately sent the soldiers back to the front lines so that they would disappear and will never be forced to testify over their alleged war crimes. Putin is said to know that the troops could one day be made to stand trial and reveal the scale of the horrors they allegedly carried out. More than 400 corpses, many of them brutally mutilated and tortured, were discovered in Bucha following the withdrawal of Russian troops. Among the atrocities reportedly uncovered by Ukrainian forces were torture chambers set up in basements where civilians were executed by Putin's soldiers. While 9 women and girls in Bucha became pregnant after being raped by Russian soldiers in the town. This feared neo-Nazi fighting force known as Putin's private army has already been linked to a string of war crimes around the world. Athlete and martial artist Private Grigory Naryshkin, 30, is personally accused of war crimes. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Corporal Dmitry Sergeyenko, 27, has a wife and young daughter. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Junior Sergeant Vyacheslav Lavrentiev, 29, was a firefighter before the war. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Private Albert Radnev, 24, joined the army straight from school just like his father. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Ukrainian officials claim that the corpses of more than 1,000 civilians have been retrieved from around Kyiv and that French investigators are working with them to document alleged war crimes. Help those fleeing conflict with the Ukraine Fund. Pictures of women and children fleeing the horror of Ukraine's devastated towns and cities have moved readers to tears. Many of you want to help the 5 million caught in the chaos, and now you can, by donating to the Ukraine Fund. Corporal Mikhail Kashin, 24, allegedly spent his birthday committing war crimes in Bucha. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine. Private Vasily Kanazhev, 24, shared Russian troop locations on Facebook. Credit, Twitter, Defense of Ukraine.